guys, how's it going? My name is Justin, and I am known, unfortunately or fortunately, on the internet more as that Christian vlogger. Now, you may be wondering, what in the world is a vlogger? You see those guys running around with selfie sticks all the time with cameras. They're always talking to themselves. It's a very narcissistic kind of thing, but that's what I do for a living. And I run a YouTube channel online called That Christian Vlogger, and my goal is to create video content for young Christian millennials. I remember back to when I was 16, 17-year-olds in high school, going to academy, but feeling just completely out of it, feeling like, man, is there a purpose to life? Really, what am I here for? Is God real? And even if he is real, does he even care? And I had a lot of questions when it came to my faith. And so, I'm trying to make videos for that guy right there, maybe about 10, 12, 15 years ago. My goal is to make faith something that is applicable, something that is interesting for the young Christian millennial. Now, what does it mean to me to be an entrepreneur? To me, to be an entrepreneur is quite literally to try to do greater things than Jesus. Hold on. I understand what you're thinking. Because, Jesus is here on this earth, and, he raised the dead, he healed the sick, and he walked on water. And yeah, my goal as an entrepreneur, my goal as a YouTuber is to try to do things greater than Jesus. Here's what I mean by that. If you check out John chapter 14, verse 12, the Bible says this, "Truly, truly, I say unto you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do." And check this out. And what? And greater works than these will he do, because I am going to the Father. Now, I don't quite understand what that looks like or how that is exactly played out, but Jesus' promise to you and Jesus' promise to me as an entrepreneur, as a creative person, as someone trying to make a difference in the world, is that you can actually do works that are greater than Jesus. I remember this was October of last year. I just came back home from work. You see, I have a history in ministry, but I came back home from work. I was teaching at an evangelism school in Philadelphia, and I remember coming home and telling my wife, Emily, God has finally made it clear. It's time for me to quit my job and to start really giving this YouTube thing my full attention. Now, people ask when they hear that story, well, hold on, how did the whole YouTube thing start off? It really kind of started off as an accident. You see, I had met my current wife, my favorite wife, my only wife, amen. I had met her, and things were going off really, really well. And I figured, what would be really cool is if I could maybe create a video of that very important day when I was going to propose to her. And so I bought my first GoPro, and we start walking around. This is Riverside. Anyone been to Riverside before? It's around Christmas time, and Emily tells me that one of her favorite things is, Christmas lights, and she loves Christmas lights. So I remember thinking, oh, this is the perfect place. The Mission Inn, the Festival of Lights, when the lights go on, that's where I'm going to be. And it was kind of a hiccup because, I was supposed to meet my friend, the photographer, up on the roof where there would be kind of a little bit of secluded area, a beautiful view, but, he got locked down. He couldn't quite make it. So we're going down the different pathways, and we're trying to find a good spot to take these photos. And of course, I have my little selfie stick with my GoPro, and I finally find it. So I hand her the GoPro, and I hand her the selfie stick, and I'm reaching into my pocket. My family tells me that they can tell how nervous I am, and I finally pop the question. You see, YouTube for me wasn't really anything in particular. It wasn't, hold on, let's just look at that for a second. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? She's so happy. Yeah, she did say yes. Amen. Hallelujah. Yeah, so that was the start of the channel. The start of the channel wasn't ministry. It wasn't anything else like that. It was just, listen, I just wanted to make home movies. I want to have memories to look back on. Some of my favorite things, even to this day, is to look back on old home movies from when I was a child, to see my family back then. It's like, I'll do that. Throw up on YouTube. It won't really be that big a deal, but that's what I'm going to do. You see, I was about 18 years old, 17, 18 years old after high school, just graduated, did my first summer colporting. So there's that guy right there, the chinky little Asian kid right there in the corner. I had my first experience. When people would ask me back in those days when I was in high school, they would ask me, Justin, what do you want to do when you get older? I didn't quite have an answer. When you go to college was the question, what are you going to do? Because, in an Asian home, it's not like, hey, are you planning on going to college? No. When you go to college, what are you planning on doing? My answer was, I'm going to be a dentist. And the reason why I said I was going to be a dentist was because when I thought about my life, when I thought about my passions and my interests, literally, I had none other than playing video games, and esports wasn't really a thing back in those days either. And so I said, I'm going to be a dentist. And the reason why I'm going to be a dentist is because my father is a dentist. And if I'm going to be miserable, this is what I thought, if I'm going to be miserable, I might as well be rich. You see, I'd resigned myself into a life of just kind of clocking in, clocking out, 9 to 5, just do my due diligence, live for the weekends, and try and find some purpose, try to find some happiness in this thing called life. Maybe you've been there before. Maybe that's why you're an entrepreneur now, because you're trying to escape that trap, that rat race of life. My first summer canvassing changed my life. For the first time in my life, I would wake up with fire behind my eyes and realize that there was a purpose as to why I was here on this earth, and that was to proclaim the goodness of my Father in heaven. And so it started me on a journey. I've been doing literature evangelism now for 10 years. I eventually went to a school called Souls West, which is an evangelism school in Arizona. And right after graduating from there, I started working in evangelism. I have 10 years of experience as a literature evangelist. I've done public evangelism, both internationally here in the States. I've run Bible work programs, and I even taught at a local, the Bible college in Philadelphia. And it was around this time, that I started just watching a lot more YouTube. And I started saying, man, this whole YouTube thing is really, really interesting. People complain all the time about young people leaving the church. Our young people, they're not even coming. And when they do come, they're falling asleep at church. Okay, well, what are you doing about it? We're not really doing anything. We're just complaining about it. And I started noticing what was the trend. What were the young people doing? What was I doing in my spare time? And I started realizing how much more important social media was in today's day and age. Did you know that the average millennial spends at least 1 hour a day on YouTube? That's the average millennial. Now you have some of those, really good, Adventists who, are vegan and, they go to boarding academy, and so they don't watch any YouTube. But the rest of us sinners are out there. We're making up for that. We're watching several hours of YouTube every single day. And so I remember deciding, I'm going to try this thing. I'm going to try creating YouTube videos. And I was doing the home video thing. I said, what would it be like if someone tried to use YouTube as a way of helping young people find purpose and passion in their life? What would it be like if someone tried to use YouTube as a way to help connect people with the source of all life? And so I decided, all right, I'm going to pick up a camera. I'm going to just try this thing. Now, I don't have a background in film. In fact, that video that I showed you guys when I'm proposing to my wife, that was like the first video I ever tried to do. So this is not an area that I have skills in. I said, God, I'm going to just create YouTube videos. And you can see right here, this is me in my apartment in Philly. It's so cluttered. I don't have a studio. Those are lamps that I bought at Home Depot. So I said, God, I will try because I think it's worth trying. I said, God, I will give you, some time of my life. I'll just say, this year, this was in 2016. I said, God, I'll give you an entire year. I'll just give you my best. And so I'm sitting there. It was, January. I'm writing down my kind of like my goals for the year. My what's the thing called in January that you write down? New Year's resolutions. Yeah, thank you. I was writing down my goals, my 1-year goals, my 5-year goals, my 10-year goals, all those different kinds of things. And so when it came around to the YouTube section, my ministry section, all right, God, I'll create a video every week, or at least I'll try my best. My goal was to do 52 videos in a year. So God, I'll do it. And if by the end of the year, let's say I can grow an audience to, let's say, 250 people, I think it'll be worth the effort. Because you think about this, how hard do I work as a literature evangelist to go and knock on 250 doors, to sell 250 books? I work my butt off, right? If I'm a Bible worker and I'm sitting down and I'm giving one-on-one Bible studies, and if that person says, man, these Bible studies are so good, I will invite my friend. And now you have 2 people in the room that you're giving a Bible. Oh my goodness, you're just like on cloud 9, right? Said, if I'm going to plant a church, if I could grow the church to 250 people in 1 year, like, dude, these are all good. So this is the way I look at it. It's not just a view. It's just not narcissism. It's like my content is going to be spiritually driven. There's going to be a message behind it. I'm going to be calling people higher in their walk with God. And if at the end of the year, 250 people find value in it, it'll be worth it. And I wrote that number on a piece of paper. And I remember just thinking to myself and hearing kind of that spirit prompting me in the back of my head, Justin, you need to have faith. Okay, I thought 250 was faith, but God was saying, you need to have faith. So I said, all right, I'll set a faith goal. I'll set a goal where, aside from the Holy Spirit just pouring out in latter rain power, there's no way that's going to happen. So I'll write a second goal. I don't think it's ever going to happen, and if it does, miracle. So I wrote down 500. I'll double it. Why not? Little did I know what God had in store for me, because in under 30 days, I had hit over 500 subscribers. I'm just thinking, what in the world is happening? 12 months have gone by since that first video that I put out, and my audience grew in under 1 year to over 10,000 people. It's been about a year and a half since I've dedicated my time and my energy and my resources to this project, and over 30,000 people have subscribed to my channel to hear more about what it means to experience faith in the first person. And I've just been blown away about how God has been working. When you just finally put yourself out there and say, God, I'm willing to try. I'm willing to just give it a shot. I don't even think that, I don't even have enough faith for myself to say that I think I can do it, that I think that I can make it work. But apparently you see something in me and you call me higher and you want to use me. So I said, all right, God, my prayer always has been and always will be, God, use me how you want. If you want this thing to work, I'll give my best effort to it. If not, then redirect me. That's fine. So in October of last year, I quit my job. I said, God, you got 12 months. I'll give you 12 months as a missionary. You know, because, we send missionaries overseas to Africa, to South America, to Asia, to wherever the case is. We send missionaries all over the world. And yet, what about our own? What about the young people that were complaining about leaving the church? What are we doing for them? And so it's really cool when I get a look on my back-end analytics of my channel and find out that, you know what? 80% of my audience is in between the age of 14 and 34. So I said, God, you got a year. I'll give you my best. And I don't know how the story ends, because that year is still not up. I'm still just giving my best. I don't know the conclusion of the story, if he has a next step for me, another plan for me. But I said, here am I, Lord, send me. I want to experience faith in the first person. I'm not just content to go and sit down on the sidelines. Lord, use me however you want. And to me, that's what being an entrepreneur is about. Maybe you're not an entrepreneur in the church sense, like you're creating church technology or you're doing that kind of thing. But God has got a plan for you. And even you as an entrepreneur, because I know how entrepreneurs are. We dream big. We have these massive things. We're going to just change the world. You're still not dreaming big enough. You're still not thinking grand enough. Because what did Jesus say? The greater things than what he did will you do also. So I want to challenge you guys here at Fruition. Think big, dream big, and make a difference in the world. Make a difference for those young people, for those older people, for those young at heart people, whoever they are. Make a difference for them and impact them with the thing that matters most. Building businesses is good and all. And I mean, I'm speaking kind of from the sidelines because I'm still trying to figure this out. I don't have like a business that's working or anything like that. I don't know I can't contribute to that part of the conversation. But I want to challenge you to use the gifts that God has given you and use them to make the world a better place and to grow his kingdom, to experience faith in the first person.
All right, hello, Fruition. My name is Khoe. I'm so glad to interview you because I have 3 teenagers who consume YouTube videos religiously each day. And so you being in that lane, I want to ask you some questions about that because you are making videos and you are presenting stuff on YouTube. And for many people, what you do might be considered a hobby. For many people, how do you defend and talk about your business, which for many people might seem not to be, a real business? How do you talk to them about that, and even talk to us, where some of us feel our business may not be something that may be accepted?
Right. I don't know how to answer that question because the reality is it's not. I don't view it as a business per se. When I think about a business, I think at least you're meeting the bottom line. To me, this is why I said, God, you got 12 months. In the same way that I would go overseas and I wouldn't be expecting an income kind of thing, that's how I've given God 12 months. So I don't look at it like that. But how do I maybe answer a kind of a similar but different question? How do I justify spending my time and my energy, making videos? Yeah. And the way that I look about it is like this. Imagine this. Imagine if your children went to church once a week. Now, the reality is the vast majority of your kids aren't actually going to church once a week, once they have a choice. Regular church attendance is considered 2 times a month.
Right.
But if they did, in fact, go to church once a week, that means that they're spending a combined amount of time of roughly 4 hours in a church. And even in those 4 hours, are they really paying attention? Are they sleeping? Are they talking with their friends? Are they texting? Are they on Facebook, whatever the case is? So they're spending maybe 4 hours. But let's just say it's 4 hours. Average young person spends 1 hour on YouTube every single day, like you said, religiously.
Religiously.
Right? So what does the math come out to? That means that people are spending what is it, 720, like 28 times the amount of time on YouTube as they are going to church.
Right.
And yet, what does the church have for those people?
Right.
And maybe if it's not even the church, like what kind of quality content is out there that's going to be positive, that's going to be uplifting?
Right.
That's why that matters.
Right, right. So
The platform is irrespective. It doesn't matter if it's written, if it's spoken, if it's video, if it's audio only. It doesn't matter. That's where their attention is. And if you really want to reach them, if you really want to impact their lives, you got to go where they went or where they are. That's what Jesus did. He went where they are.
So what I'm hearing from you, you're a missionary, and you believe a way to reach this mission field is to be in the places that they are congregating, the places where they're receiving information.
100%.
Yeah. Now, just to let you know, if you would like to ask any questions to Justin, you want to come to one of the mics, to the microphone right here, we'll give you a chance to ask that question. Now, you mentioned that you have given God a year, and your channel has blown up to 31,000 followers. But how important was it to stick to your core message and not compromise while trying to build? Because you understand, if you had probably done other things, you might have grown a following a lot faster, or, so how important is it to stick to your core message?
Yeah, that's a great question. The point being, like, if I did like a prank channel,
Yeah.
or I did some random cat videos or whatever the case is, my channel would be larger. Yeah, absolutely. But it's not hard for me, because that's not my purpose. That's not my calling. That's not my goal.
Right.
That's not why I'm created on earth. Like, I really appreciated the previous one by Shalini. Man, that was powerful. When she said with so much confidence why God put her here on this earth. My goodness. So it starts from there. I know what my purpose is.
Yeah.
My purpose is to help, young people fall in love with Jesus. What that looks like, whether that's training them to knock on doors, or give Bible study, or preach a seminar, or to run church programs, or to make videos, it's irrespective. It's the same thing. I know why I'm here, and so I don't deviate from that path.
Right, right. Now, one thing that I heard from you is that you've done different things, and I think I see someone at the mic. This is my last question.
Cool.
I've heard you do different things. You talked about your journey. You've knocked on doors. You've done different things, but the mission has been the same. Kind of talk to us about being willing to shift, staying true to mission, but being able to be flexible in the methods.
Well, it comes down to what you really value most. Do you value your mission, or do you value your tradition? Do you value the way things have been done because they've always been done this way and because this is the way I know how to do it? Or do you actually value changing people's lives? Do you actually value your mission more than what you've done for 150 years, or whatever the case is?
Right.
If you value your mission, then you're going to be comfortable following where God leads.
Right. And I think that works in both in the nonprofit, the profit world, and the church, in the marketplace, that mission is core, and our methods change based on the world we're in. I see a question here, sir.
Yeah, I have two questions. Can I double it up? All right,
Go for
cool.
it.
So one thing is, I think, if I'm hearing you right, this is something that really augments the church, right? It's a channel that augments the church, or is, in fact, an extension of the church, another church.
Yeah.
It could replace the church.
So let me answer that. The ideal always will be that they are engaged with a local community, with human beings, with mentors, people of all nationalities, all ages. That's the ideal. But here's the reality. There are a good number of people, and Ellen White talks about this quite a bit, there are a good number of young people especially who will never go to your church. So what does that mean? That you don't care about them? That you don't try and reach out to them? Absolutely not. You still reach them. Ellen White talks about how souls are won by the hearth, by the fireplace. She talks about how so many people will never come into the kingdom unless you go and bring the message to them. And if the majority of our infrastructure is come to my building, come to my building, come to my building, come to my building, you're going to miss a large population of the world. So if you can, for me, an underlying assumption of my audience is that they will never come to my church. But it doesn't mean that I can't still speak life into their experience, that I cannot still share a message that will change their life. So now, the goal, again, is still to get them there. And I have some ideas and theories and plans about how I can start to move in the direction of my digital audience showing up in physical churches. That's my dream. That's my goal. That's where I want to go to. But even if they didn't, I have their attention. They show up twice a week to listen to a spiritual message. That has value in and of itself.
I think it's hugely valuable. And so just so you know, that wasn't a judgment thing. I didn't have my arms crossed saying, you're not.
I don't get that from
okay.
you. And I should give the caveat. I speak very passionately. I speak from my heart. And sometimes it may get interpreted incorrectly, but here's my heart. I've served 10 years
you're
as a
doing is
literature
beautiful,
evangelist.
Justin.
I love the church. I'm all about it. I'm here to try and move people closer to Jesus.
What you're doing is beautiful. I really believe in it a lot. I love your passion about it. I love your faith. I can tell God's inspired you to do it. That's awesome. And some of these people, our church, the way church is, the way we've done it for 150 years, like you just said, it's not meeting those needs, right? So, but I think the sense of community maybe is what you're talking about as they go to thing, right? One other question, comments. How do you deal with comments? Do you just shut them off? Do you let people just go willy-nilly and say bad stuff about each other's mothers?
There's a problem with our message if we're afraid of people responding to it. That says more about your message than the person, I like to think. So I leave comments on. Open comments, I love interacting with comments. Like I literally got a comment this morning. I woke up from my sleep, all my blackout shades are there, so I turn on my phone, bam, get blasted in the face. I look at the comments, and I literally have a comment sitting I need to respond to from an atheist. When she's responding to my video on why does God allow suffering, she says, you know what, I'm an atheist. I don't quite believe in God, but I was interested in your question, or in your answer to this question. And then she gives kind of her concerns about my video and some further interaction. Why would I be afraid of that? Here is someone who is actually engaging with my content, who's giving it enough presence of mind to say, you know what you just said, I'm thinking about it, I'm responding to it. That's not a bad thing, even if they disagree with what I have to say. Even if they do it in a negative way, the person who interacts and flames me online, that is actually better than them just watching and say, oh, that's completely ridiculous, I'm never going to respond. I love my haters online. I love it. And honestly, the reality is I only have maybe 1% of my comments showing up that are negative. The vast majority of them love what I have to share. Even when I came out just last week as a Seventh-day Adventist on my channel, like a whole video on this is Seventh-day Adventism, the vast majority of them are like, wow, this is really cool. I had a lot of questions about it. I was wondering about something. And then there's a good percentage of them who are actually, you know what? I've had questions about it because don't Seventh-day Adventists believe this? And here's the thing. If I was afraid of comments, they would have never asked that question. So guess where they get their answers from? They get it from Google. And what's the first hit on Google? Or the first 5 hits on Google? It's all anti-Adventist propaganda. So I'm welcoming my interaction from my audience. I think it's wonderful.
I think I saw one more person at the mic. I think this will be our last question from our audience here. Is it not on?
Is the floor mic on? Here, coming up
Okay,
here.
you want to use my mic? Okay, he can use my, okay.
I'm just saying, so it looks like you're doing an amazing work that is really practical and has the ability to impact the lives of many. And my question to you is, what strategies do you think that you can implement to ensure that your project, your work continues, is sustainable? Are there some conversations that you need to have with particular individuals? Or what is your idea for the things that you can do so that your project extends above the 12 months that you originally planned?
That's an awesome question, and I thank you for asking that. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the future of the channel has to hold. I mean, a very simple answer to that question is financial needs. I'm happy dedicating, a full 12 months of this, no pay kind of thing. I mean, I slept on floors in churches for years, for $1,500 a month. I've done that for years, but I'm married now, and I have a little bit more responsibility today than I did when I was a single male. Then it was easy to just, eat top ramen every day. It was no big deal. But I have the future to think about. So that's one need. But if God wants me to continue in this, then He'll provide a way for that. I'm not overly worried about that. I'm certainly doing my due diligence as an entrepreneur. But really, I don't know how to answer. Where is it going? I would love to be able to just continue creating content for my audience, indefinitely. There are young people literally in my audience who may have never otherwise heard of any type of the gospel. I had someone ask me a question online, and this is the one I like to share a lot because it opens perspectives a lot. They asked me, hey, Justin, I'm interested in going to church, and, I don't have a ride. What advice do you have to me? And, I was a little bit maybe I was in a rush, so I didn't kind of give it all the grace and tact that I could have given the response. I said, come on, let's be real. There's a church nearby you, and if you give them a call, You know, you call the pastor, you call an elder and tell them your predicament, they're going to pick you up. I mean, what church doesn't want a young person who's interested in going to church who isn't going to go and send a vehicle and pick them up or something like that? So I was like, come on, man, like, this would be real. You're making an excuse. This was kind of the tone of what I said. And the person responded so much more gracefully and patiently than I did. They said, no, I'm so sorry. I live in a Muslim country, and there are no Christian churches nearby. I mean, that totally changed the conversation to me. And like, when I say there are people who literally would not hear of the gospel unless you either went to them or you started making videos online, that's what I'm talking about. And that's not the first time I've had conversations like that. I have conversations with people every single week. Just on Saturday, I was talking with a girl named Hannah from California who's asking me questions because she feels a call on her life to serve God in ministry, but she's stuck at a job at a cafe. And she's asking my advice. I'm 19 years old. Should I quit my job? Like, should I actually take that leap of faith and like go to college? And I was like, of course you should. But here's the thing. Most of these young people who have questions, they're never going to go to your pastor and ask them. They just don't. And for better or worse, there's a huge distrust towards organizations and a huge trust towards personalities, for better or worse. When someone has a platform, when someone has social influence, and they have no training, no background, no reason why you should ever trust what they say, kids ask them questions, and then they respond. And your kids are listening to these people. So I didn't really answer your question, because the answer to your question is I don't really know what the needs are, because I don't know where God is leading it. Yeah. My call is, God, here am I, send me. I'll do what you want me to do, and I'll do my best at it while it's in front of me. I have, what is it, August, September, October, November. I got like 2 or 3 months before my 12 months is up. So really, what 2018 looks like, it's completely up in the air. I have an idea. I have some plans that I'm working on, but God can totally shift that, and I'm totally open to that.
Hey, listen, Justin, thank you for challenging us today to think big, dream big, and make a difference. Can we put our hands together for Justin right now? Thank you, man. Thank you.